Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to discuss the Pulverize Werebear Druid. This build was one of the strongest builds in the endgame for the Druid in the closed beta, and we're going to talk about how to put the build together correctly so that you can enjoy this insanely powerful and fun build. We're going to talk about the early game and leveling, your ability loadout, legendary aspects, uniques to seek out, important skills to allocate points to, which Paragon board to choose, and of course which Spirit Boons to select. Let's begin. The first character I made in the closed beta was the Druid, and I went straight for Pulverize, and the first enhancement to the ability made it so that if you used Pulverize and it hit at least 2 or more monsters, then it would do something like 50% increased damage. I thought, easy, this ability is broken. Well, they nerfed Pulverize in the last build of the game, which was the open beta. That damage bonus for hitting more than one monster has been replaced by granting overpower every 10 seconds while you remain healthy, which means over 80% life. This is a huge nerf because you only get this bonus every 10 seconds instead of almost always getting the old damage bonus. Even against most dungeon bosses, you could get the 2+ monster hit because of the monsters the boss summoned. This just shows that the Pulverize Werebear was just too strong late game, so they had to nerf it. However, because of this nerf, this makes shape-shifting druids feel really weak in the early game in my opinion, since Pulverize was a really strong ability that now can only get stronger once you get the right key abilities, aspects, and uniques, so it is a gear dependent build. Even though Pulverize Werebear starts weak, it's going to be a top endgame build, assuming no more nerfs before the game releases. Now when it comes to leveling, I prefer to start with Claw, Enhanced Claw, and then Pulverize, and then Enhanced Pulverize and Wild Claw. Even though the build will ultimately use Maul, we just don't have enough overpower in the build early on to make starting with Maul worth it. Wild Claw allows you to generate a lot of spirit fast because you have a 10% chance to attack twice, which gives you double the spirit, which means more pulverizes. Once monsters start getting more powerful or you're about to fight a boss, Storm Strike is your best bet because it offers both 25% damage reduction and applies vulnerability to your targets, granting 20% increased damage. Definitely switch to Storm Strike if your clearing speed starts to slow because you aren't getting good aspects or good item drops. As you level, Cyclone Armor in my opinion is the strongest defensive since it's a passive 20% non-physical damage reduction, which is always on, and Trample is helpful for increasing Druid's limited mobility. Grizzly Rage is the ideal ultimate to get that 20% increased damage and damage reduction, and the capstone skill Ursine Strength grants 30% increased damage while healthy, which is very, very powerful. The build requires a few legendary aspects and a couple of key uniques. The biggest legendary aspect is Shockwave aspect, which causes Pulverize to create a shockwave that travels forward, dealing 300% of its damage to targets in its path. This of course is incredibly strong and triples the damage of Pulverize. It's a must for this build. And there's also aspect of the Ursine Horror, which makes Pulverize also an earth skill, which allows you to pick up a bunch of extra bonus skills to improve your build that you normally wouldn't get, like Crushing Earth, which grants 15% increased damage to earth skills used on crowd controlled enemies, Stone Guard, which gives you 12% increased earth damage when you have 50% of your life fortified, and Safeguard, which makes your earth skills critical strikes fortify you, which all work together great. There's also more aspects that now become viable once Pulverize is an earth skill, such as Crash Stone aspect, which gives earth skills 40% more critical strike damage to CC'd enemies. Early on, getting rapid aspect is amazing. I got one that granted 58% increased attack speed, which made my druid attack so much faster, and it was a day and night difference in terms of fun early on. You can find it either by chance or you can go straight to the dry steppes to get it guaranteed. Now when it comes to unique items to seek out, grab Insatiable Fury. It's a unique chest which makes Werebear form permanent and gives you +2 to all Werebear skills. Besides it looking really cool to always be a Werebear, the +2 to all Werebear skills helps scale your character all around and really enables the Provocation skill to function properly. Provocation makes your next skill overpower if you've been a Werebear for 25 seconds. So with this unique, you'll always be getting that overpower attack off. Always being a Werebear also means you will benefit constantly from your capstone skill Ursine Strength, granting 20% increased maximum life, Iron Fur, which grants 9% damage reduction, and others which require you to be in a Werebear form in order to get the benefit. Another unique you'll want is the Harlequin Crest. This is a unique helm which gives you a flat % damage reduction and plus rank to all skills. I imagine this will be a best in slot unique for most classes and builds. The key abilities for this build are of course Pulverize, Maul, Trample, and Grizzly Rage as the ultimate. Also, you can't go wrong with Cyclone Armor. It's just the most broken ability in the game, if you ask me. 1 point gives you 20% non-physical damage reduction, and the legendary aspect of Cyclonic Force also makes it provide physical damage reduction and apply it to all nearby allies. If you put 5 points into it, it gets to about 30% passive reduction, so roughly 30% physical and non-physical damage reduction passively. Absolutely broken, and a big part why druids are one of the tankiest classes in the game. A key skill to pick up with Pulverize Werebear is Heart of the Wild, and you'll want to put at least 2 points into it. With 100 spirit max, you can use Pulverize twice because it costs 35 spirit, but with the +6 extra spirit from Heart of the Wild, you can get an extra Pulverize in when you have 106 spirit total. Wild Impulses makes your core skills cost more spirit but deal more damage, up to 30% increased damage at the cost of 15% more spirit. Once you put 2 points into this skill, you'll need to get Gift of the Stag, which is a spirit boon, in order to keep your 3 pulverizes from max spirit. So just keep that in mind as you're building these skills up. When it comes to spirit boons, there are some great options for the pulverized build, but I think the best ones will depend on what pieces of the build you're missing, whether that's a unique or a specific legendary aspect. If you need more survivability, Masochistic gives you 3% of your life back every time you crit, which is great. Energize, I think, is one of the best. It gives you a 15% chance to gain 10 spirit every time you deal damage, which will help reduce downtime between spamming Pulverize. And once you get Aspect of the Earthseen Horror, which makes Pulverize also an earth skill, the spirit boon Obsidian Slam becomes great. Every nth kill will cause your next earth skill to overpower. This boon, of course, would be pointless without Aspect of the Earthseen Horror. If you're not familiar with overpower, overpowered attacks deal bonus damage to enemies based on the sum of your current life and fortified life, which as a werebear you'll be having quite a lot of life and building fortify with all of your skills. Most overpowered attacks will one-shot the majority of monsters you encounter and deal heavy damage to elites and bosses. This will give you a total of 3 sources of overpower now. You have Obsidian Slam every nth kill, Enhanced Pulverize every 10 seconds, and Provocation every 25 seconds. And last is the Deer Spirit boon. I would get Gift of the Stag, which gives you +10 max spirit, so you can use Pulverize more often with Wild Impulses. When it comes to Paragon boards, the Pulverize Werebear goes for Survival Instincts. While in Werebear form, you deal increased damage for every % difference in life percent between you and the enemy. Lots of people complain that Pulverize Werebear doesn't have good single target damage, and this solves for that. If you get a few good overpowered attacks off on a high HP monster, its missing life is now bonus damage for you. When the monster is at 70% life and you're at 100, you get 30% increased damage. When they're at 50% life, you'll then deal 50% more damage, and so on. It snowballs as you wear down your enemy. The Survival Instincts Paragon board is also the only board which buffs Overpower and Werebear, so it's a no-brainer choice if you're going for this build. The Druid's primary stat is Willpower, which will increase the damage of all abilities, so try to get as much of that as possible, along with Damage Well Bear, Fortify, and Overpower damage. The full Paragon board path is in the description, along with the legendary aspects, uniques, and skill tree that I would go. Now, of all the classes I played, Druid felt the most fun and engaging because it wasn't a complete brainless steamroll like a lot of the other classes feel like, and the end game viability of Pulverize is the sweet payoff of playing a class that starts off weaker than the rest and needs gear to become strong. It's amazing once you've reached the end game and just makes it all worth it. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.